Okay, I hope you can see my screen. Let me quickly switch to the slides. Okay. All right, so it's been a while. I think it's been a few weeks and we are back again on the track. So welcome back to the workshop series. And mainly today we'll talk about few things, and we are planning to do a small lab as well. Because in the previous session, after finishing the session, there were significant amount of questions about the implementation part that I did. Basically, how you install Docker and how to get it up and running, and how to pull an image, how to run a service, and those kind of things. So I feel like it's better to start from there again along with you. So that's why I ask you to download the ISO image for Ubuntu Server. So if you have the ISO image, then you can follow along with me. If you can do that, that's better. Then that means when you are doing it with me, when you are facing problems, you can simply post it in the chat and we can solve that problem together. So try to follow along with me. Try to do the things I do here in your computers as well. And yeah, okay. So I hope you all did the task 1. That means doing the Linux Essentials course. I think the deadline is pretty much close now. I'm not sure. The organizing committee will figure out what they're going to do with it. So if you haven't finished this already, please put your time and effort into this, because this is going to pay you off big time. So better to finalize this, better to finish this and get the certificate. And you get a digital certificate, so you can post it in your LinkedIn or wherever you want to post it. Okay, right. So I'll quickly go through a small recap because it's been a while, as I told you. Probably most of you maybe don't remember what we talked in the last workshop. So because of that, let's just quickly breeze through the things that we did, and then we can move on to the today's lab. Right. So we talked and we discussed about the differences between the Docker and also the concept of virtualization, right? Because as I told you, sometimes people mix it up with the containerization and the virtualization. But what you need to remember is these two concepts have some similarities, but they are from the ground up, they are different, right? So containerization and virtualization simply is different, right? So virtualization software, or you can say a containerization platform, it allows you to package an application, include all required dependencies, run it the same way you way on any system, build once, run anywhere. Right? That's the idea. You can build the image once and you can run it on anywhere, as long as you have the Docker platform or the Docker engine running in your running on top of your operating system. And we discussed what is a container, where it is a lightweight, it is isolated environment used to run an application along with everything it needs. And remember, this isolated environment is actually true because when we are hosting a service, it is isolated. That means if you run a service inside a container, you will not be able to access it. To access it, then you have some other things to do. That means by default, it's isolated. So if you run a web service or if you run any sort of a service, you will not be able to access it by default, right? So you have to do some things to get it to your network or to wherever you want to access it. And we discussed the differences between the two. I hope you all remember virtual machine, Docker, and running Docker on non-Linux platforms as well. You can run Docker on Windows. I discussed about it as well. And my recommended way is to run it on Linux because we are learning it. We don't want to face all sorts of other problems because of platform issues. But if you're running on the Linux, the amount of problems that you're going to face is going to be very little. Right. So the simple difference between VMs, Docker running on non-Linux platforms, you can see VMs are straightforward. You have two types of VMs, as I told you. You have the type 1 hypervisors and you have type 2 hypervisors, right? You can run it on bare metal hypervisor, or you can run it on a hosted hypervisor. The difference, I hope you remember, I'm not going to continue, or I'm not going to re-explain it. If you have a problem, use the chat, then I can re-explain it to you. But when it comes to the Docker, on the host machine, we run our Docker engine. The Docker engine will basically maintain everything, manage everything when it comes to the containers, right? Okay. So these are the differences between the Docker images and the containers. You can say a Docker image is a blueprint, or simply say it's a template, and it is read-only. Once you get the image, you can't do anything to it. It's read-only. And it's not going to run by itself. But when it comes to a container is simply a running instance of an image. That means you can use the same image and run multiple containers using different container IDs and container names. You can't duplicate the same container ID. You can't duplicate this, because then that's going to be a problem. So if you're using a different container ID, then yes, you can use the same image multiple times. And as I told you, I'm not sure whether you remember, we can run the same service in different versions, right? That's a big advantage we have when it comes to containerization. If you're running it purely on your operating system, then you will not have that opportunity to run different services of the same service. Sorry, different versions of the same service. Like for an example, let's say it's Apache 1.1. And if you want to run Apache 1.2, then what's going to happen is it's going to upgrade 1.1 to 1.2 if you are hosting it on the operating system itself. But with containerization, you can keep 1.1 separately, you can have 1.2 separately, and you can test out both versions without any problem. So which is a big convenience when it comes to development. Right. Then we talked about a very important topic, Docker registry, something that we should not forget, because this is something that we are going to use a lot when it comes to working with Docker and working with different services, because this is where all the services are. This is where all the things that you require to pull from the repositories. There are two types of registries, as I told you. There's going to be the public repositories or public registries, and there's going to be the private ones. For the private ones, you'll have to pay all the production environments, all the production things that you do. Most of the companies, they push those things into the private registries, then they are going to be secure. And all the public things are like the community edition services like Nginx and all sorts of other services. So we'll host some services today, so you'll get the full idea of what I'm talking here. Good. Right. Then this is something new that we are going to talk today. As I remember, I didn't cover this part. But before going to this, I hope you all have the Ubuntu image with you and Oracle VirtualBox installed in your host computer. Right. So up to here, are you guys all good? Do you have anything to ask? Are there any clarifications? If you don't have any problems, can you put a thumbs up in the Zoom, so then I can continue to the rest? And also, when you're in the meeting, try to work with me. Be interactive. Just don't join the meeting and do your own work. There's no point of doing that. So try to be interactive here. Okay, I hope everything's okay. If you have problems, please use the chat. There is Yes, one question is Kali Linux okay? No problem. As long as it is Linux, you're good to go, right? You can use Debian, Ubuntu, Kali, CentOS, whatever you like, ParetOS. As long as you have a Linux kernel with you, you are good. Okay, you're good to go. Any other questions? Okay, seems like there's no, there's one more. No worries. Yes, you can use WSL, no problem. That means you are running it on Windows, right? That is uh, the Windows subsystem. That is no problem at all. Debian, also fine, no problem at all. Okay, seems like there are no problems. Yes, for those who are using WSL, the Windows subsystem for Linux, uh, no problem at all. No problem at all. All right, so I'm going to assume there's no other questions. Right. Okay, so let's move to the installation. So for those who are following with me with Oracle VirtualBox, it's going to be a little bit easy for you guys because I am going to do the same thing here. But for those who use different alternatives, especially if you're using Windows subsystem for Linux, uh, you can wait because you already have the Linux operating system up and running. Just wait till we finish the installation, then you can follow along with us as well, right? Okay, so first thing first, we'll go to Oracle VirtualBox. I hope you all can see my screen. So this is a hosted hypervisor, not a bare metal one. So simply we are running this on top of our operating system. The thing is, these type of hypervisors, when it comes to the performance, they have lots of bottlenecks, and sometimes you'll face all sorts of problems. Like sometimes the connectivity is not there. Sometimes when you're running a service, the entire VM might get might turn off or might get corrupted. Uh, when you work with this, you will see these are not very frequent problems, but these things are expected to happen. So just a heads up for you, since we are using a hosted hypervisor. In the production environments, most of the time, we use hosted, basically bare metal hypervisors to run the services. For practice, this is good. Okay, right. So let me quickly create a test machine. So I'll give the name as test, and you have to download the ISO file. So it's already with me. So I'm going to double click it. I'm going to skip the unattended installation. And let me quickly see the hardware. Since I'm running some services, I want the machine to be a bit smooth. So I'm going to give around, I have 16 gigs of RAM. So I'll give around 4 GB of RAM. If it is not enough, I'll add it later. I'll give 4 CPU cores, and that's it. And I'll do one more thing. I will go here to the network, and I'll change the NAT to bridge. So with NAT, basically, like simply saying, what happens is the hosted hypervisor gives a IP address to the VM, 10 something, like 10.1 dot something, and it will get translated, like the network address translation will happen to that IP to our DHCP IP address. So the problem is when you do this, when you go with a NAT adapter, you will not be able to access whatever the services you are providing through your host computer. But what I want to do is I want the ability to access whatever the things I'm hosting through my web browser, my host computer web browser. That means this web browser. Okay, so because of that, the net won't do. We have to go for bridge. Okay, so that's the only difference. So for those who are using any other alternatives, make sure that you are getting IP address from your router DHCP. My router offers 192.168 8 something. So I should get a 192.168.8 something IP address for this VM as well. Yes, that's it. So we can run the VM. The installation is pretty much straightforward. You don't have a lot to do. No fancy configurations. You just follow along with the installation steps and you will be okay. And also the installation time may vary depending on the hardware you have. The better your hardware, the faster it will be. So once I install, I'll give like 5 to 10 minutes for you to get it done as well. And then we can follow along together. Okay. So we are here. So I'll select the language as English. Yes, Ubuntu Server. So now you can see I got the IP address 192.168.8.13. So this is my IP for the VM. And so I'm going to be okay with this. And also, if you want to assign a static IP, you have the option here. So you can basically go to this here and edit IP version 4, and you can change this to manual, and then you can give a static IP. In my router, I have configured the DHCP range or the DHCP scope as 8.2 to 8.200. So if I want to give a static IP, I can give like 201 or 202. But in this case, I don't mind because this is not a machine that I'm going to use every day. So because of that, I'm not concerned about getting dynamic IP. But when you are working with production environments or when you're working with long-term projects, highly recommend to use a static IP. So you don't have to worry about the proxy. You can either stay here till the mirrors getting tested, or you can skip this part. You can see the mirrors are working. So I'm not going to spend more time here. I'm going to say done, and I'm going to move to the next one. In this case, keep everything default. They're asking whether you want to use the entire disk or if you want to do a custom storage layout. In this case, it's fine. I can use the entire disk since it is a VM. But if I'm working with actual machine, actual server, I'll definitely go for a custom storage layout and do the partitioning as I want. But in this case, I'm okay with this. So it's okay. And this is the summary how the layout's going to be, which is also fine. And now they're asking us to the destructor confirm the destructive action where they'll remove everything in your transmission media. If you're using a VM, nothing to worry. But if you're actually installing this in your PC, make sure that all the data is backed up. Right. So you have to give a name, a username, and a password. In my case, I want to give a very simple username and password for the convenience. Then it's easy for me to log in, give the password whenever I want. So I'm going to give the username as test, the server's name as test, everything as test. Even the password is going to be test because it's easy for me. And you don't need the Ubuntu Pro. Continue. Okay, so this part is very important. When you come up to here, this install OpenSSH server, This is by default, it is disabled. Okay, it is not enabled. So you have to select this option. So clear, you have to use spacebar to give the cross there. Now it is selected. Make sure to install SSH server, because then you can SSH to this machine from the host device, which is very easy. Then you can copy and paste the commands that I gave you in the lab sheet, which is going to be very convenient for you. Otherwise, you'll have to type everything, right? Or you can enable the, like, I think VirtualBox give you the option to copy and paste this one, the drag and drop option, share clipboard basically. Then you can do the bidirectional copy from the host machine and paste it in the what you call the VM. But I don't like to do this, because you can't do this when it comes to the production environments, because you are running the VM in a server, right? You can't do bidirectional things. Best option is, let's try to get real here. So let's install the OpenSSH server and access the machine via the command line. I'm happy with this. And these are some services that you can install on your Ubuntu server. I'm not sure. I thought Docker might be here. As I remember, it was there, but it's not here now. Okay, because by default, Docker is not going to be there in Ubuntu server. But I think it was there before, but now it's no longer there for some reason. I'm not sure. Just correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember, as I remember, it was there before. But now in this list, it is not there. But if you can see Docker here, you can select it from here and get it done. But I highly recommend you to read the documentation and install Docker, because that's what I'm going to do today. So we'll skip this part. Even Docker, if Docker is there, I recommend you to skip it. Let's install Docker manually using the terminal. So everything's good here. So let's give it like 5 to 6 minutes. The installation time will mainly depend on your internet connection and your computer performance, but in this part, it's mainly going to be the internet connection, right? So let's give it some time. And at the meantime, we'll just go through this website. This is like a very popular website, actually, like Geeks for Geeks. And here I was searching for Docker cheat sheet, command cheat sheet. I got a one from official site, but I was not happy with it, because it's pretty much small. You don't even have the pull commands and everything. So if you search Docker cheat sheet, you can find the official one here. Probably will be the first search response that you're gonna get. But if you go down a little, you'll see this one, Geeks for Geeks complete guide. It says 2024, but it is updated here, so nothing to worry. Okay. So you can see there's plenty of commands. I hope you remember some of the commands that we used last time, but if you don't, let's just go through this together because it's still, okay, my one is already finished. My VM is already finished, but let's reboot it and let's go through the commands quickly, okay? So most of the time, either you'll have to remove the disk manually. So I remove the disk. You have to go to the devices, optical devices. If this is not like this, like if it is not grayed out, then click it, then it will remove the disk from the virtual drive. This is similar to unplugging your pen drive after installing the operating system. So do this. Once you do this, you click enter, and then you'll again be rebooted back to the operating system. I got a question whether you can use Ubuntu GUI, the GUI experience. No problem at all. But the problem is go with the server because this is very lightweight and we are running a VM. So when you're running a VM with a GUI, it's pretty much heavy on the operating system. So the smartest thing that you can do is run a CLI version of it, or simply a server edition of the operating system where it is very lightweight, because it doesn't have to do any rendering when it comes to the GUI, which makes it very lightweight and very resource uh, not that resource intense when it comes to the other options, right? Yeah, okay. So again, login, test. Yes. So I am in. So I am inside the VM now. But the first thing I want to do is I want to access this VM through my host computer. That means my Windows computer using SSH. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here and I'm going to search for the command line or simply the command prompt. And here I'm going to say SSH. Can you stay with us until we? Yeah. I'm really sorry. Sure, Sitara, I'll stay. So while you guys are installing, I forgot that I promised to wait 10 minutes. While you guys are installing it, let's discuss the commands, right? Right. So I'll share this website with you. Use it, read it whenever you can. Okay. Right. So Docker commands, there are a few here. So Docker originally used straightforward individual commands for its task. Over time, as more features were added, this approach became harder to manage, as that makes sense, because uh, when when any service mature, there's going to be lots of services and features it comes along with it, right? And the more features you have, the more complicated the system gets. So now, to make the interface clearer and more structured, Docker introduced an object-based command system where grouping commands by the type of resource they control. So this makes CLI more organized and easier to understand. And while the old commands remain for compatibility, the newer commands is recommended for ongoing use. So what they have done is now the latest or the current versions of Docker mainly use the more cleaner, more structured command base, where uh, all the commands are object based. That means all the commands are grouped by the type of resource that you control. So for an example, you can see uh, previously it was basically Docker PS. What it does is basically it shows you the list of containers available in your Docker environment. But since now it is very much so what you call grouped commands. That means basically the commands are grouped by the type of resource that you control. So with this, the type of resource that you control is containers. So because of that, the new command is Docker, the type of container, and then new ls, right? So you can see this part was added because this is the type of resource that you manage. So the command got updated. Instead of Docker PS, Docker container ls is recommended, but this still works, but not sure for how long, right? Because they are in a process where they are migrating from the old command system to new recommended command system. So since we are practicing, I highly recommend you to use this, but I have to apologize. Most of the times I might use these commands because I am more familiar with these commands, because I use these commands a lot. So my muscle memory is built to these commands. I'll try my best to use the new commands whenever it hits me, but most of the time I might use the old commands. Okay, right. So Docker PS can be is replaced by Docker container ls. Same story for the Docker run. since we are running the containers, they have added the type of resource that we are managing here. Docker remove, since we are removing the container, Docker container remove. I feel like this is actually way better because it actually describes what you're doing, right? When you say Docker PS, you have no idea what you are showing. Like, you are listing containers, but if you know it, you know it. But here, when you see this Docker container ls, you know what you are listing is the containers. So it is very much so clean than before. And Docker images, Docker image ls. Now you can see it is pretty much very similar. And Docker RMI, since you are removing the image, you put Docker image RM. Okay, so these are some commands. And the Docker container run command. So this is the most fundamental command. Whenever you want to run a container, you simply type Docker run whatever the image. If it is nginx, you say nginx. If it is a custom name that you give, whatever the custom name, it's pretty much like that. So it creates a new container for a specified image and then starts it. If the image is not found locally, Docker will automatically try to pull it first. If it is available in the public Docker repository, it will push it from there, it will pull it from there, and then it will run and it will be executed in your system. If it is not there, then you'll get error, right? So Docker container run, whatever the image name, and to give a custom name for the container, what you can do is simply say Docker container run, then double dash name, and then you have to give the container name and then the image name. So image name, you have to give it either from the Docker public repository, or if it is already pulled to your system, you can mention it there. So this is example. So you can see Docker run Redis. So Redis is starting, and warning, no config file specified, you are using the default config, and then it is ready to accept and it is running. Okay. Then the Docker pull, and also one more thing, keep a piece of paper with you and a pencil or a pen. And whenever I mention some sort of a command, write it down and simply in front of it, write the purpose. Make your own cheat sheet, right? Because I didn't like this cheat sheet because it didn't had everything, right? So I'll tell you your next task as well. So I told you this workshop series going to be task-based, work-based, like do your own work-based workshop series. So your next task is going to be, you have to make your own Docker cheat sheet and you have to upload it, right? So I'll let you know the deadlines for it. I'll let you know the submission details. I'll talk that with the organizing committee. And the next task is going to be that you have to create your own Docker cheat sheet, right? And you have to host that in your repo, GitHub repo, right? So because of that, whenever I mention some sort of a command, if you are not familiar with it, write it down, right? Write it in your own words. Make your own nice looking cheat sheet. Because don't just ask ChatGPT to make a cheat sheet. There's no point of making a cheat sheet like that. You will not remember anything that you get there. Okay. So if you are here to learn, pull your weight, then you'll learn. Okay. Be responsible. Okay. Then Docker container run command. Basically, it will run the image as I told you. And then Docker pull, where this command allows you to pull any image which is present in the official registry of Docker or Docker Hub. Okay, so by default, it pulls the latest image, but you can use tags if you want to pull a custom version. So if you go to the Docker registry or Docker Hub, If you go to Docker Hub, here you go. You have all sorts of things, right? And for example, if you want to install TensorFlow, simple. You go here, you're going to say this command basically pulls it and then runs it. But if you want to pull it first and then run it, what you have to do is you're going to say Docker pull, and then you're going to use the tags here. If you go to tags, you can see all sorts of tags. So if you want to go with this version, you are going to say nightly-Jupyter, and then you get it. So basically Docker pull, you copy this and paste the tag here, and it will get that image. And if you want a different version, you can go down here and get it, right? It's that simple. Yeah. Anyways, so that's the idea. So when you pull it, it will get it, it will pull, and it will show you the digest, and it will be there in your Docker containers. Remember, even though you pulled it, it doesn't mean it's running. You have to separately run the Docker run command, then it will run. Okay, but if you are using the new commands, then you have to say Docker container run, not just Docker run. Okay, both commands will work, but just use the Docker container run. Because the reason is, if you are going to the industry, when you will go to the industry eventually, the industry is heavily using Docker. And imagine Docker decides to entirely remove the old command series, and then the industry wants the people who know the new set of commands, right? So that's why you have to future-proof yourself. Okay, you have to future-proof yourself. That's why. Anyway, so then the Docker PS, this command shows us a list of all the running containers, but the new one is Docker container ls. But in here, what they have used is the old one. So if you're using Docker PS, if you use a flag, then it shows all the containers stopped or running. But if you use the L flag, then it will show you the latest container that you install. And if you use the Q flag, it will show only the ID of the container, nothing else. So if you run Docker PS, you will see everything about the container, like the image, the command, when you created it. But if you just say the Q flag, it will only show you this container IDs. And if you go for A flag, you'll get the all the containers running or stopped. And if you go with L flag, then you will see the latest one here. Then Docker container stop basically will stop the container. What you have to do is you have to use the container ID, which is available here, right? And whenever you want to start the same story, you're going to say Docker container start and the container ID. There you will start the container, right? And if you're done with the container, if for some reason, if the container is corrupted, then you can remove the container. Then the simple command is Docker rm. Then you have to mention the container ID. But the new command is a bit different. It is Docker container rm, because you are putting action to the container. So it got updated to Docker container rm. Right. Then RMI, to delete the image in Docker. You can delete the images which are useless from the Docker local storage. You can free up some space. To do that, you have to say Docker RMI and the image ID and the image name. Okay. Right. So if you run Docker images command, it will list all the pulled images which are present in your system. So sometimes some images might take gigabits of storage. So if you're not using an image for a long time, what you can do is you can remove it, because most of these images are getting updated. So there's no point of keeping pretty much year-old images in your system. So you can remove it and you can replace it with something else, or you can update it. And Docker exec that allows us to run new commands in a running container. this command only works until the container is running, because it's basically you are accessing the container and you are running commands inside the container. It's like running different kind of commands inside the Ubuntu VM that we installed, because the container is running on top of the Linux kernel. So it works with Linux commands. So if you want to execute Linux commands or whatever the commands, then you have to say docker exec, and then you have to then you'll get the chance to run whatever the commands you want. So this command allows us to run new commands in a running container, but remember you need the container to be in a functioning or running mode. You have few flags that you can use. The D flag is for running the commands in the background. I told you, I think I practiced this in the last week, the detached mode from the CLI. And then you have the I flag that will keep std in open even when not attached. And then the E flag sets the environment variables. Then you can do some port mapping. I'm not going to explain it here because I have plans to explain this later. So I am not that much of concerned about this. The Docker login command will help you to authenticate with the Docker Hub, then which you can push and pull your images, because like in some cases you might we didn't start working with our own compose files. That is like very important when it comes to Docker, making your own compose file, because then you can make things very easy, and that is like a must-have skill when you are working with Docker. So hopefully in the next Sunday, I'll be mainly focusing on Docker Compose, like how to make your own compose image, to build your development environments. So stay tuned for that as well. And then the Docker push, where if you want to push, just like in Git you commit your developments to your repos, just like that. You can do this push, and you can do the build as well. And you can stop containers using this command docker stop. And if you want to stop multiple containers, simply you can do this docker stop, and you can mention each container name. Remember, when you are mentioning multiple containers, you have to put a space in between the container names. That is very important. And restart, if you want to restart a container. The Docker inspection will run into some errors in real time to debug the container's errors. Like if you're running a service and if the service is not working, you want to see what's going on. Then if that's the case, what you can do is you can say Docker inspect. Either you can use the container name or the container ID, right? And also I will add this as well. I told you I'll give you a activity to make a Docker cheat sheet, and that cheat sheet should be handwritten. Okay, it should not be a Microsoft Word or a Google Doc file or a PDF. It is a PDF, but what I want is your handwritten PDF. That means you have to write it. Okay, so that's a must. That's why I'm asking you to keep a piece of paper with you. Write as I'm going through this. Then you don't have extra work to do. Okay, so it is a handwritten submission. Typed submissions are not allowed, will not be considered. So if you give a typed submission, there's a chance that you lose your certificate. So, okay. Docker inspection, as I told you, when you want to debug, you can use it. And give me 1 second. Okay. Then Docker container top basically displays the running process inside a container. It is like running a top command on Linux. So if you did the Linux module, you know what I'm talking about here. That's why I asked you to do that module. Okay. Then the Docker commit, after running the command or after running the containers by using the current image, you can make the updates to the containers by interacting with the containers by using this command. And there are some other commands here as well. So this is good amount of commands for the cheat sheet, but I expect you to have more commands in your cheat sheet when you are submitting it. Okay, spend some time, like, learn the commands, because Docker is actually pretty much very simple. It's the concept is like pretty simple. The only challenging part is knowing the commands, right? Because at the end of the day, we have to write the scripts and everything. So that part is the only challenging aspect when it comes to this. Other than that, I don't think there's going to be anything that going to give a hard time to you. Okay. So everyone's okay with the installation? Can I move forward, or do you need more time? Can I get a response from you all? Can you put a thumbs up if you are okay to move to the next one? Or basically work with the lab sheet? Put a thumbs up if you're ready to work on the lab, and do not do anything if you want more time. So only seven people put the thumbs up. So that means others require some time. Is that the case? Okay, so let's do it like this. Can you put thumbs up if you really, if you want some time? Can you put thumbs up if you want some time? Like another 5 more minutes. If you want another 5 more minutes, can you put a thumbs up? Okay, so I saw like 10, 12 thumbs ups. I'll give you 5 minutes. Then after 5 minutes, we'll continue. Okay? Okay. So at the meantime, I'll quickly grab some water. Okay. For others, you can go and grab some water as well, or a snack. Shall we? I think it's enough time, right? Because let's take use of the time because the session might end around night 9 o'clock today. So we'll try to finish the lab as well. Okay. Okay. Uh, so let me move to my command line. So if you want to open your command line, I hope all of you know how to open the command line. But if you don't, simple, just go to here and you just search for command prompt. You can either run it as administrator or you can simply run it. It's not gonna make a big difference. So the first thing first, what you need to know is the IP address of your Ubuntu machine. So I'm going to say IPA. Then from here, I can see 192.168.8.13 as I told you before. So I'm going to say here, I'm going to say SSH. My username is user and 192.168.8.11. What is it? 13. And yes, and they ask for the password. So the password was test. Why am I having problem? Okay, sorry. The username is not user. It should be test, right? The username was test and the password was also test. Okay, my bad. So let me quit from here and let me fix the problem. It should be test here. So SSH username at whatever the IP address. Okay. If you don't have any assigned ports, like if it is running on the default port, then it's fine. Okay. Right. But if you are running it on a custom port, then you have to mention the custom port here. But if you're running it on the default port 22, which is the SSH port, then you can simply access it. Okay. Uh, if you want to SSH to a custom port, what you need to do is you're going to say SSH, then you're going to put a flag called P, and after P, you have to mention the custom port. But in this case, I'm running on 22, so I'm going to say 22. But by default value is anyways 22, so you can actually skip this part entirely. But for the sake of teaching you how to access a custom port, I'll do this. It should work like this. If you're running it on port 50, 60, whatever, then you have to mention that port there. Okay. And the password is test. And we are inside the Ubuntu. So I'm going to minimize this. I no longer need this actually, right? Because now I have SSH connection. So I'm going to minimize. I'm going to arrange my desktop a bit nicely, like more in an organized manner, so I can actually see everything. I'll open the Docker workshop in the other side. Beautiful. Okay. So we can work like this, right? Also note, this is shared with you on the WhatsApp group. Okay. You can download this. Since we are getting familiar with things, I have mentioned what each of these commands does, but in the coming few labs, I will not do the same thing. So you will have to figure out, okay, what this command do, what are these flag values, why there is a dash y. Likewise, you have to figure it out. Okay. For the first couple of workshops, I will spoon feed you, but that's not going to happen forever. So always have that curiosity to know, okay, what exactly this command means. Okay, you have to have that uh, learning mindset when you are doing something like this. Okay, so first thing first, what I want to do is actually run Nginx on the traditional way. That means basically running the Nginx on our virtual machine, like no containers, nothing at all, just the old traditional way, just to show you uh, what it does, right? What it does. So what I'm going to do is first I want to update all the packages. So I'm going to say sudo apt update. Then they ask me the password. That's why I gave a very simple password here. So now I'm updating all my packages before proceeding further with the work. Okay, everything was successful. Very nice to see. Then we'll go with installing the Nginx. And the why means basically whenever they ask for a prompt to give yes or no, it will automatically give yes, right? Otherwise, we have to manually give it yes all the time. So I'm going to give the flag as why. Like whenever they ask for a confirmation, it is confirmed, just go with it, right? So I'm going to say, I can just simply copy and paste it as well. That's why I took a SSH. You copy this, you right click, you copy, or you put a control C and you go here and you right click. Then it will automatically paste here. Then I'm going to press enter. So it is building everything. It's downloading. Okay. So next up, what I'm going to do is I am going to check whether Nginx is running. Pretty much sure it is not running because I didn't start it. But just in case, let me check whether it's running. Sudo systemctl status. Okay, it is running. So it automatically started and it is automatically running. But if you are not getting this, so in my case, it is actually running because that means since I gave the flag yes, I think everything got installed and it is up and running now. But if you are having like this is disabled or it is not running, don't worry, just do this. You are gonna say same command, sudo systemctl. Instead of status, what you're gonna say is you're gonna say start. Okay. And next up, if you want to run this service, whenever the system reboots or whenever the system starts from a fresh boot, then you have to enable this. So then what you have to do is run enable. But you can see in this status, it is enabled already. So I don't have to worry about that as well. But if you are not seeing any of this, no worries. Here you go. This is what you have to do. Okay. So I'm going to press enter. Now it's got executed. And whenever I restart this system, I will have Nginx. Okay, so since I ran the service already, it should appear in my web browser. So I'm going to say 192.168.8.13 as I remember my this server's IP address. So I'm going to type it and press enter, and here you go. You can see welcome to Nginx, right? So this is the default page. If you don't like this, we can change it actually. Let's run this command quickly. You can see here, create a simple HTML page. So this is the default location where you have the HTML file in the service. So you're going to say echo h1 hello from VM Nginx this, and you're going to copy this and you're going to paste it here. Okay, and if you run this, okay, I have a problem. Bash exclamation mark. Okay, so it considered the exclamation mark. Okay, so for this problem, the solution is pretty much very simple. What you have to do is, so if you're following along with me, you might face the same problem. Copy the command and paste it here. Instead of double quotes, use single quotes. It will fix the problem, hopefully. Let's see. Okay, beautiful. So now it's there. So I'm going to ask a small question. Okay. So I have given some amount of idea about this command here. So echo means prints the HTML text. So this HTML text will be printed with the echo, and TEE writes the output to the specified file with sudo permission. So that's why it's sudo TEE, and the specified output will be written here. What is the meaning of this symbol here? Can anyone tell me? What is the idea of this symbol here? This is what you call the pipe. So can anyone tell me the idea of pipe? No. Good guess, Hasib, but no, that's not the idea. Very good, Chatura. Yes, exactly. Very good. Very good. Very good. Yes, that's the idea, right? The idea of this pipe is basically what we are telling is it takes the output of the first command. You take the output of this first command and it will be forward, or it will be passed to the second command, right? That is the idea. So it takes the output of the command on the left and send it as the input to the command on the right, right? So the idea of this is it's gonna say send this output down to the pipe, right? So the in here what we do is we echo this, so that output will be the input to here. So this command will take that input and it will save it inside this file. So that's what I did with this simple command. You can see Linux is beautiful, right? It's very nice because from that simple command, you did all that, right? So learn it. That's why I'm asking you to learn it, right? So what I did was I gave this new message, hello from VM Nginx. Let's see what happens here. Now we have that here, right? So it's updated. So you can see whenever I change whatever the things inside here, you don't have to restart the service. I can rerun this command. Simply, I can say hello from VM Nginx. I can say the traditional method. And I'm going to say this. And I'm going to run it. Now it is also there, right? So what I'm doing is now this Ubuntu machine is acting as a server. It's hosting a website, and I'm basically grabbing that website from my host computer, and basically I can load this web page from my phone as well, because I am connected to the same Wi-Fi. So if I run this IP address in my phone, and yep, I get it. So I'm not sure whether you'll see it, but in my phone, I can see it from hello from Nginx. Right, I'm showing it to the camera just to show you. So you can access this web page from anywhere. That is the idea. Okay. Let's move forward. So now we have completed the first part. So if you go to the web browser and access, here you go, it works. But the problem is you can't run multiple versions this way. If you run multiple versions, there's going to be whole bunch of conflicts where it will take hours to fix, because I have faced that problem. Some of you might have faced that problem when you're doing your assignments, where you get an assignment to host some sort of a service, but that service requires a very specific version of some other service. If you are not installing that specific version, it will not work. It's a nightmare when it comes to working with those kind of scenarios. So some of you might have got some assignments, maybe from me or maybe from someone else, if you are from outside from the University of Kelaniya, where you will have to face that problem um, one way or the other. Right. So I hope you got perfect idea about the part one. So any questions from part one? Everything's okay, guys? You guys are happy with part one? What happened here? You get it, right? All good? Can we see a thumbs up if everything's okay? Though, so this is very simple. I'm pretty sure you already know this. I'm not gonna doubt it because this is basically we host it, right? This is simple website or web page we hosted. Okay, thank you very much for the thumbs ups. All right, so next up, let's move to Docker. Now let's do the same thing using the containerization. That means that let's use containers to do the same thing and hopefully access it just like we did before, right? Okay, let's see the next part, running Nginx with Docker. Okay, so the problem is to do any of these things, first of all, what do we need? We need to have Docker running in our computer or in our server or wherever we're running our Docker container. So let's see whether we have it. What's the command? Docker version. And I don't have it. So you can see command Docker not found, right? So what we have to do is we'll have to install Docker. So I'm going to clear everything, start from the beginning. So I'm going to go to a new browser and I'm going to say install Docker Ubuntu Server. And I'm going to go to their docs page. It is a very good practice to do this. Like most of the developers and even me sometimes, I know it's bad and I've learned my lesson the hard way doing that. And now I'm mostly practicing this method. Whenever you want to host some sort of a service, most of the people have a practice of going to ChatGPT and search how to install Docker in Ubuntu Server, right? That's what you do. ChatGPT gives you a bunch of commands, run this, run this, run this, run this. You'll be up and running and you will be up and running as well. You will get it run. But the problem is sometimes you are installing an older version because it's sometimes whatever the chatbot that you're using is not updated with the latest uh, things, or maybe it's doing unnecessary stuff to run the service, or it is not the most secure way to do it. So don't do that. Just go to the documentation, put some effort, and go through it, understand what they're saying, and then we will install our services. Then you have like some amount of idea and a guarantee that, okay, I followed the documentation. So at least you can figure out what you have done wrong. Okay. So the first thing first, since let's see, we are inside the documentation, the unofficial packages to uninstall, uninstall. Okay. So if you already have Docker installed and if you are going for reinstallation, what you need to do is first you have to uninstall the old versions. So this is only for people who already have Docker running in your VM. So if you already have Docker here running, what you have to do is you have to remove all these packages. They have already given you the command. So run the following command to uninstall all conflicting packages. Because if you keep these old packages and run the new commands, then there's going to be version conflicts where it will not run entirely, right? So because of that, make sure to remove all the what you call the unnecessary packages. Okay. And in this case, I'm not going to run this because I don't have Docker running. So I'm going to skip this. So installation method, install it manually and manage upgrades manually, or use a convenience script only recommended for testing and development environments. I mean, both options will work for us, but I like to do it the hard way. Basically using this method. apt repository, basically install everything, all the packages one by one, then we get more of an idea of what's happening. So what we are going to do is, first of all, we'll have to set up the apt repository to get the files. So first, we have to run the sudo apt update. I'm not going to run this again because I already ran it before. Then we have to install the certificates for curl to fetch the file. So we have to run this, and we have to get the key strings saved in the apt file, apt folder. And basically, we have to get all these files. Okay. So I'm going to run this, copy this, and paste it here, and I'm going to press enter. So no response until now. Okay. Okay. So curl set to manual install, 0 install, remove 7, and 7 not updated. Okay. So that's okay. And then add the repository to apt sources. So I'm going to copy this. Oops. All right. Okay, so it's also nice. So it's signed by the Docker synchronous key, Docker key string, and it is also fine. Then what you need to do is you have to update. Okay, so 7 packages can be upgraded. apt is upgradable. Okay. Right. So next up, what you need to do is you need to install the latest version. So in here, what they're saying is 7 packages can be upgraded. So I can run upgrade as well if I want, which is fine. I mean, why not? Okay. So if I run update now, you can see I will get all packages up to date, right? So the system is in the most perfect condition as possible. So I'll clear everything. Right, so let's install the Docker packages now. We are all ready. So simply we copy this and paste it here. If you put a flag as Y, you will not get these messages as do you want to continue, because it will automatically continue with the flag. But since I didn't add the flag, I have to say yes to everything whenever it pops up. So the installation might take some time depending on your internet speed. Today I'm having like perfect internet speed, so it doesn't take that much long for me. But in your case, it might take some time. So once I follow these steps, I'll give you some time for you to catch up with me as well. Okay. And then we'll have to install the latest version that we did. And if you really want to go for a specific version, then what you can do is you can list all the versions from Docker CE and get whatever the version that you want. And then what you're going to do is you are going to run the version string as this. You select whatever the version from here, and then you run this set of commands. Okay. But in this case, what we want to do is we want to go for the latest and the greatest one. So that's what I did here. Then I'm going to see the status of the Docker container, whether it's running. Beautiful, it's running. But in some case, if you have problems, like if it is not running, if it is disabled, then what you can do is you can run the command enable. Okay. So you can run this and you can run enable as well, where it will automatically start the service when you restart your machine. So you can do all these things. Okay. So let's verify whether everything's working. This is the default command that they ask us to run. Sudo docker run hello world. So this is the run command without the pull. So basically, if you have the container with you, it will run the container. this hello world container. This is the default container that's available. So if you go to the Docker public repo, you might have the hello world one available here. Yeah, this is the repo that I'm going to pull. So this is only just to test out whether our what you call the Docker engine is properly working and all the services are working. This is not a necessary file to pull. So basically what we are doing is we are going to take this custom Docker image and see whether it's working. So I'm not going to pull, I'm going to straight away run it. So I'm 100% sure about what's going to happen, where it will say the hello world is not available in the server. So I'm going to pull it and then I'm going to run it. It will give me that message. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it here. So unable to find the image hello world locally, obviously, because we don't have it. So they are pulling it from the library hello world. That means they are pulling this hello world library thing. It's a very small file as well. So you quickly get pulled and it is running now. So you will get hello from Docker if this is successfully running. If you run this command one more time, you can see without any problem, you get the output, which is good. And if you run a Docker PS, you will not see this because it is not running on the background. It is just a simple container that prints out. It's not a container that runs in the background. Okay. So if it is working, you will see this example output, which I see without any problem. So, and let's see whether we can see this image. So I'm going to say Docker images and I'll say the image name. Permission denied while trying to connect to the Docker. Let me try to come to the root settings whether if that's the case, Docker images. Yeah, that was the problem. So if you want to see the images, what you need to do is you have to come to the root privileges, basically the root, the super user, and then you can run this command. Either you can just say Docker images where it will show all the images you have pulled, or simply what you can do is you can say Docker images and say the specific image name that you want to list. If it is there, it will show you like this, but if it is not there, they will not show you anything like this. Okay. All right. So I'm pretty much happy with the installation, so I can move to the rest. So you guys are pretty sure that you need some time. I'll give another 5 minutes for you to figure this out. If you have any problems, use the chat. I'm here. After 5 more minutes, I'll continue with the rest. Okay, rest of the lab sheet. And also, can you put a thumbs up if you are clear with everything I'm explaining here? Can you put a thumbs up if you are clear with everything? Like, do you need more explanation? Just let me in the chat then. Are you guys clear? Like, pretty much clear with everything? Okay, perfect. Thank you. Good. If you have any problems, feel free to use the what you call the chat, and I will clarify the things for you. Okay, so I'll give you 5 minutes. Quickly get this done. It's 8:34, so I will start again at 8:39. Hasib, there could be actually. So what you're getting is and has been like that for the last 10 minutes. Yes. Can you tell me like what type of a config you have? Like, are you running on Windows? Are you running Oracle VirtualBox on Windows or is it something else? Okay, nice. So the configs that you're going with, check whether everything's aligning with this. So make sure to give some amount of RAM when at least for the installation part, because it might get stuck if you have very little amount of RAM. So if you can give around 4 GB of RAM, that would be nice. And also just for the installation part, try to give like 4 cores of what you call 4 cores for the CPU. And other than that, when you are selecting the image, I'm pretty sure you have done that one without any problem. Skip this part, the unattended installation. And the type and the subtype should be Linux and Ubuntu. Make sure those two values are also there. And after that, there's no reason for you to get like any sort of a problem. But if you are getting some, uh, one thing that you can do is run the Oracle VirtualBox as administrator. Like close the Oracle VirtualBox, search it in here, and run it as administrator. Maybe because of some sort of a reason, maybe the host machine is blocking some sort of a resource. That could happen. So just to be sure, run it as administrator. But if it is also not working, the best option is uninstall Oracle VirtualBox and try it, or re-download the Ubuntu ISO image. Maybe the ISO image is corrupted. When you're downloading, maybe it got paused and then you again resumed it. And when that happens multiple times, sometimes the ISO files get corrupted because a single bit error can entirely ruin the ISO file. So if you like post it and continued it when you're downloading the ISO image, there's a somewhat of a chance that the ISO file is also corrupted. Please try the things that I mentioned and let me know whether it worked out for you. Okay, so my 5 minutes is up. So I'm going to continue this. I hope you all are also following with me. I know it's not that easy to follow along with me because you guys are working in different types of circumstances. Sometimes the machines are slow, sometimes the internet connection is slow, so I get it. So if you try your best to follow, if you couldn't, if you didn't get the chance because of those kind of problems, that's fine. At least when you're doing it later, try to do it, okay? Because I guarantee you, if you do this, then you remember. But if you just look at it and like watch it like you're watching a YouTube video or a movie, then you will forget it because even if it is a movie, once you watch it and after like 2 to 3 years, you will forget about the movie. Then you want to rewatch it, right? You don't remember the exact things because you just watched it. That's why. But something like this, you have to do it. Then you do it, it will keep in your head, right? So follow it along with me. If you didn't get the chance, do it later. Right, no problem. So I'm going to continue my work because I want to finish the lab sheet. Where is it? Yeah. Okay, so everything's good now. So I have my what you call the Ubuntu server running. So I'm opening the wrong window. I want my terminal here. Okay. And first thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull Nginx. So in here, you can see in the option, what you're pulling is the version 1.28.2 Perl. So if you go to here and search Nginx, the version I'm asking you to pull, which is 128.2, yeah. So 1.2.2, something like that, no? This one. So 1.282 is not the latest one, right? The latest one is actually 1.29.5 something. So I'm asking you to pull this actually, right? So what we are doing is we are pulling a specific uh, version for our work. So what we are going to do is we are going to say Docker pull this specific version, right? That is the idea. So I'll be doing that now. So I'm going to right click and paste it here, and I'm going to pull it. So it's like 2733, like 50 megabytes. So right, it's done. Okay, pull complete. Okay. So now if you check Docker images, you will see now you have two images. One was the one that you pulled before, Hello World, latest, and then the specific version that you pulled later, right? So can someone tell me if I want to remove this Hello World image, what is the command that I need to run? Can someone tell me that? What command I need to run here? What is the uh, command I have to execute? Can someone tell me? Can't see the chats. Oh yeah, I got it. We'll see. Yes. Docker RMI hello world. So I'm going to copy your answer, Takshala, and I'm going to copy it and paste it here. So is using its reference image. Yes, that's fine. So it says unable to delete hello world latest. Must be forced. So that means since it is using its reference image, we have to force this delete. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a F here. So let's see whether it's still there. It's gone, right? So sometimes you might have to force the delete because it is in use in some cases. U for in use. So in some of those cases, when you run the command docker rmi hello world as I did before, it might say it is being referenced. So can we just force remove it? It's like forcing the USB stick out of your computer. So in that scenario, what you can do is you can put the flag F for forcing, and you can run the command and it will give you the output of the image, and it will disappear from your Docker images. Okay, which is fine because we don't need it anymore anyways. So we are good. Right. So our pull was successful. So after that, what I want to do is I want to run it. So I'm going to run it using this command, docker run So Docker run will start a container, and simply I can just simply say Docker run and double dash name, and then I can mention the name without it, this flag. But this flag is the interactive and TTY. Basically, it allows you to see the logs and interact, right? And also remember, this is the attached mode. So once you run this command, you will not be able to use your terminal because this command will not running in the background, it is running in the foreground. So whenever you want to use the terminal, you have to exit from the process, which will actually turn off the container as well. I'll show you that. So I'm going to run this. Copy, paste, run. Now you can see I can interact, I can type things, see, I can interact with it. So that's the advantage, right? But the problem is now I no longer can use the terminal. And the next problem is if I want to use the terminal, I have to exit from here like this. And if you run a Docker PS, you will not see the containers running in the background because when you exit from here, you actually close the process as well. So that is the reason. So for now, I am okay with this, right? So let's do this. So let's just run this like this. Let me clear this. So error response from daemon conflict. The container name is already in use by container this. You have to remove or rename the container. So let me see the Docker containers. Yes. Either I have to remove it or I have to do it. So fix it as well. All right. So if you want to see all the containers, whether they are stopped, what you can do is you can say Docker PSA, PSA like this. So in here, you can see all the running, the running services. So this service is actually running. What is it? Hello one is also running. You can see it's exited some time ago, and this is exited 0 about a minute ago, right? So can you tell me how can I remove this from here? Like remove this specific container ID. It's very simple. What you can do is you can say Docker rm, and then I can say nginx, whatever this idea, right? So now it's saying no such container. Let me try to remove it from the container ID if it is possible. Since it is exited already, probably it's not there. We'll see. Okay, it's got removed. So let me run the command now. Should not be there. Great. So I'll remove these two as well. What you call this one and this one, the hello world one. So I'm going to remove both of them. So you saw if you want to remove multiple, you can simply copy and paste both with spaces like this. And now if you run PSA, you don't have it anymore, right? So now let's run the command one more time. As before, now it is running, right? Again, we started it, we removed it from here, and we again reran it. Okay. So now the question is, can you access this container from your host device? So before, with the traditional method, as you guys saw, when I refreshed my page, I got this, I think it's still running. Yes, it is still running. Hello from VM Nginx, the traditional method. So just like that, can I access this? Can I access this service? Yes or no? What do you think? Can I access this Nginx server? So I can disable this service as well if you want. The current service I'm running in my host computer. That is also fine by me. So systemctl stop Nginx. Got a message. No. Okay. So I got uh, a response from one person says no. So what might be the reason for that as well? What might be the reason for it? Let's refresh this. I stop the service. Yes. Now that service is no longer running. Very good. Yes, Subodha. Yes. So now I turned off my traditional service because it's no longer required. But if I want it, simply I can just say start and it will appear there. Yes, as you said, without port mapping, I told you Docker makes isolated environments, right? The containers are isolated. When I was giving you, when we were recapping everything I told you, it is isolated, right? So isolation is not like when you say isolated, that means it's entirely isolated where you don't have any access to that container. So if you really want to access that specific container, what you need to do is you need to do the port mapping. Basically, you have to map the container's port to our actual virtual machine's ports. Then we will be able to access it. So that's what you call port mapping. It's very similar to port forwarding. So that's what you are going to do here now. So can you access it? So the answer is obviously no. So the containers runs Nginx starts inside the container, but it is not accessible from your host machine browser. So if you try this, it won't work because the container ports 80 is isolated inside Docker. It's inside the Docker container. It's not exposed to the outside net environment. So exercise use Docker PS to see the container running. Notice the ports the ports column doesn't have any information. So let's actually check it whether it is actually true. So I can exit from here. So Docker, if you run Docker PS now, it's not going to run anyways because it's running in the detached mode. So first of all, let me see. Let me remove this. Or I can simply run this in the detached mode. Okay, so if that's the case, I will remove this first. Better to keep the our working or the practicing part much more cleaner without any unnecessary files. So I'm going to remove it, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this command. That means I'm going to run the service. But for a change, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this. I'm going to run it in the detached mode. Basically, it's not going to lock my terminal. It's going to run in the background. So it already started. So if I run the Docker PS now, you'll see now I can see it because it's running in the background because I ran it in the detached mode. And also on top of it, you will see the ports, it's just running on the TCP port 80. But if you go here and give that port 80, it is not going to work, right? So the reason is it's not port map. This port 80 is the Docker containers port 80, not the port 80 of our virtual machine. So what we need is port binding. So why we need it? Docker containers run in isolated networks by default. And to map or to access a service, like whatever the service, from the host machine or browser, we need to map a container port to host port, right? We need to map it. The container's port need to be mapped to the host port. So this is what you call the port binding, which is a very important concept when you're working with Docker. So the syntax for the port binding is pretty much simple. You use the flag as P, and then you mention the host port. So in our case, it's going to be 80. In our case, it can be 80, 20, whatever, and then whatever the container port. So in this case, the container port is going to be 80 because you can see it's running on 80. So you can't change this number. You can't change this number. It have to be 80, but you can change this number to whatever you want, right? Eventually, you can change port 80 to 81 as well. But in this case, what I want to do is I want to map 80 to 80, right? So let's do that. Before that, let's remove this. So this is not what we want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove it. The easier method is to remove it and work with it. So now you can see when you try to remove a running container, they will not let you. Either they ask you to stop the container using the stop command, or either you'll have to do a force remove. That means you have to use the flag force, where it will forcefully stop it and then it will remove it. I think I explained this in the previous time as well. So I'm going to run the new command, same story in the detached mode like this. But now I'm going to add a new flag as P flag, and I'm going to say map 80 with 80. So I'm going to add that part as well. You can add the what you call the flag wherever you want. That's fine. But I'll be adding it after adding the detached. All right. This looks okay for me. So I'm going to press enter. Now it already executed. So I'm going to check whether it's running in the background. Okay, now you can see something bit different than before, right? You can see it's created 5 seconds ago, status for up 4 seconds. Now the ports 0000. What is the meaning of 0000? Any idea? No. 0000 means not actually host IP. The 0000 means any traffic. Any traffic, very good. Yes, also. Any traffic coming to this specific port. So this 0 is the default route. In networking, that's what we call the default route. So with the default route, what we do is whatever, I don't care what IP that I'm getting, like what source IP the request is coming from, as long as it's for port 8080, map it to the container port 80 and give the service. So if this is true, that means if I run this command with a colon saying port 8080 like this, right? Small change 192.168.8.13, and I did a small change here. I added 8080. Let's see. Here you go. Now this specific web page is coming from the container. So we are doing the port binding. We are accessing it like this. I hope you get the idea. So if you just run the IP, it will not be there. You just run 192.168.8.13, it's not going to be there, right? If you run specifically, if you specifically address the port, then it will port bind it to the internal port of the container. And here you go. We have a running container giving us the service, right? So now you can either edit this file where you can, I told you, you can access the inside of the container, and then you can do that, right? So we'll do that later because let's just follow the lab sheet first, and then we'll do some fun stuff with the work, right? Right. So if you want to execute some sort of a command, this is what you can use, docker exec, right? If you run this, then what you can do is you can actually uh, run commands inside your container. You have that option. Okay. So let me minimize this. We'll do all these things later after we finishing this lab. Otherwise, uh, the time is going to be a small problem. Right. So we did this. So now we are actually accessing it without any problem. So now I'm going to give you guys a task, like a quick task to do. Run another Nginx container using the latest version in the detached mode and bind it to host port 8082. Can you guys do it? So now what you have to do is you have to get the latest version and then you have to bind it to port 8082. If you didn't follow along with me, then you will not be able to run this command. If that's the case, post it in the chat, but don't put it in the public. Uh, basically, just straight away send it to me. Straight away send it to me. That means like privately send me the answer for this task. Pasidhu asked me a question. Can you explain the port again? Port again after binding. Yes, Pasidhu. So I will explain what I did there. I hope it will clarify. If it didn't, just let me know. So the command that I ran was this, right? So in here, this is the port binding part. So what I'm doing is, let me get the annotator and explain it to you quickly. Can't find it. Oh yeah, here you go. Yeah. So you have your host machine like this, right? And the host machine is actually in this case, your Ubuntu machine, right? Ubuntu VM. Your VM is actually exposed to the network, my home network in this case. And that's why it does have IP address given. This is the network port, so it is connected to there. And here we have IP address 192.168. 8.13. So my VM is exposed to the home network. And inside the VM, I'm running my container. And this container is an isolated environment. So it is not exposed to this interface or to this port, right? Or to this IP address, whatever. So what I'm doing with port binding is, basically I'm going to say, this interface is 80. And I'm going to open another port, a logical port here with the port number 8080. You can make significant amount of ports, like you can make around 10,000 ports, custom ports inside this, like to this IP address, right? You can put a colon and say 001, 002, likewise, okay? So I'm saying I'm going to open outside port 8080, and my inside port is port 80, which is not connected. And with the port bind, I'm saying is whatever the traffic I'm getting to this specific port, whatever the traffic from any person, from a mobile phone, I don't care. I don't care about the IP address as long as it is asking forward that traffic to here. So that is the expectation here. I'm going to explain it one more time. So with the 0000 colon 8080, the idea is I'm saying here, when someone asks traffic, or if someone asks to go inside port 8080 to get the service, you get that traffic and you forward that traffic to the port 80 inside here. So that's what you're saying here. Ports, whatever traffic that you're getting to this specific port from the outside network, you forward that traffic inside this specific container with this specific port number. Did I clarify it to you, Pasindu? Or do you need more clarification? Are you sure? 100%? Great. If you have problems, ask, I'll clarify. I'm okay to clarify the same thing multiple times as long as you get it. Right? That's the important thing. Right. So I gave you a task. Okay. So your task is to give me this command, run another Nginx container using the latest version in a detached mode. That means it's not going to attach to the what you call your terminal, and blind it to host. Sorry, bind it to host port to a 8082. So what you can do is you can bind it to 82. So in this command, as you know, we have already been used the port 80 for this container. This container is already using the port 80 now. So we are binding 80 to 80 now. So 80 is also not available now. So what you can do is you can give the new container port 81, and the outside person can get the port 8081, and you can bind it. So give me the command for that. So that is your task now. Give it a shot. So I didn't get, I got one answer. Uh, yeah, you can do that. Yes. I'm asking you to map it to port 80. Yes, 8082. Yes, yes. Yeah, good. So I got one answer from one person. Dasun, your answer is pretty much correct. Uh, Nginx Perl, Nginx latest. I'm not sure about Nginx Perl, Nginx latest. Is that the tag? Nginx Perl, Nginx latest. What you can simply say is latest actually. You can use this tag, Nginx latest. There's a Nginx Perl as well. I saw in your command Dasun, in the name, you have Nginx Perl as well as Nginx latest. Okay, good job, Osuru. Good job. Osuru, check whether you can actually access this web page or this service from your host machine as well, since you're running it. Dasu, check the command. I think there might be a problem here. Oh no, what you're giving is the name. No, this will run, Dasun. This will run. No, no, your answer is correct. It's fine. It works. Ah, nice, Dasun. Okay, it works. Very good. So now you guys can see, right? Now you guys can see also that now you got the working output for both options, you know. Probably you have access to port 8081 as well. So what you're doing is now you're running uh, same service but two different versions in the same computer without any conflicts, right? So you have isolated the two services using your port numbers. That's it. Everything's perfect. All right. So I'll also run it because otherwise it's going to take a long time. Uh, So the idea is pretty much simple, right? What I'm going to do is I'm not going to say whether any tags or anything, but I'm going to say this is my Nginx new container. I'm going to give like Nginx new just to say it is my new container. Then I'm going to say it is port 8080. I think in the activity I've asked you to map it to, uh, let me see, to 8082. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same. I'm going to make it 8082 and I can't map it to 80. If you do that, what's going to happen is this port number will also be mapped to that same previous one that we make. What I want to do is I want to map it to the new one. So I'm going to do is like 8081, right? I can make it 82, whatever. And so this is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to mention any tags. So it's going to say Nginx. I didn't say latest, but they are going to take it as latest by default and they will pull it, right? And they will pull it and use it. And now if I run a Docker PS, you will see I'm running two images. One is Nginx, which is the latest one. And the second one is the old one. And yeah, so both are doing the port forwarding without any problem. You can see the first one is doing the port forwarding to 8082 and the other one is doing the port forwarding to 8080. So let's see whether I can access 8082 as well. Okay, I'm having a problem here. Let me see. Okay, now you can see this one's port is 80. So I think I know what is the mistake I did. Let me. So this port 80 is still running on 80. So I'm asking to map 82 to 80 to 82. So I have to change the default port. That is the problem. The default port is 80. So let me show you how to fix it. At the meantime, others can give me the answers, okay? I didn't get answers from a lot of people. I only got the answer from two people. If you have different answers, you have the time. So for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this container. I might have to force it because it's running. So I'll force it and stop it. This 8082 one, this one, right? And I'm going to stop it with force. I think I have to remove it like this, not stop it. It should be this first one, right? This. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this, right? And then I'm going to clear everything that I did. And I'm going to rerun the command. The command that I actually pulled, the latest version of Nginx, this one. And I have to map it to 80. I'll tell you why. Because 80 is the default port for this Nginx. So if you are changing this default port, you have to do some work. But I want to do this work after teaching you the how to work with the Docker Compose. So because of that, I'm not going to do anything, but the mapping is done. So if I go for Docker PS, you'll see now the two services are mapping. This one is mapping to 8080, and this one service is being mapped to 8082. So let's see whether now we can access 8082, and yes, now we have access. So copy this, I'm going to paste it here. This is for the 8080, and this is for 8082. So you can see both of them are running. So the only difference is this is the latest one and this is somewhat of an old one. But at the end of the day, both are running on the same VM without any conflicts. So that is the advantage of doing it. And so Nginx is by default running on port 80. That's how it is configured. But you can change it. Definitely you can change this port 80. Where is that port 80? Yeah, this one. You can change this port 80 to whatever the port number you want. But if that's the case, you have to little bit work with the basically config files. So you have to actually mount. There's like something called mounted config where you have to do that. So I'm not going to do it now, but after doing the compose, I will definitely do it. Okay, right. So run. This is the command. I'm going to share this command in the chat. So this is the command that you need to execute. Okay. The next thing is in the lab. I was planning to do this, but since the time is like 9:20, I can stop it actually. So this is basically like a self-hosted Docker Compose manager where you can simply take a compose and run it. So I will run this command. This is like a similar command that you ran before to run Nginx. Same story. The only difference is make command එක තියෙන්නේ පහළට පහළට. That is the only difference. Other than that, this is the same command. Docker detach mode. Name is dockage. The port mapping is going to be 5001 to 5001. And that means whatever the traffic coming from 5001 will be mapped to 5001 here. And these are the location that it will be mounted. So I'm going to run this, and this is the dockage image, the latest one I'm pulling. So if I run this command in my VM like this, this is the same command that you typed before, like same structure. Unable to find the latest one, that's fine. So they're going to pull it from the repository. It's available in the public repo. So this is basically Docker container management system. Otherwise, you have to run all these commands now to stop the container. You have to run Docker stop. To remove it, you have to forcefully remove it running commands. So if you are not a big fan of running commands all the time, then you can use this GUI based system to manage your Docker, what you call Docker images and containers and everything. Okay, so now it's running. So let me do a Docker PS. So you can see the dockage is also running and it is listening to port 5001. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this port number to 5001. And yes, this is my dockage that I installed now, just like you did before. And I have to give the username. So I'm going to say test. Then the password test. I think they will not let you use password as test because yes, I'm getting the message 2 weeks. So I'm going to add test 1, 2, 3, 4. And here is your dockage. So this is a very nice Docker container management system where you can run bunch of services for you to have fun with simply, right? And you don't need to run the commands because this will do the commands for you, right? So if you want to run a new compose, I still didn't teach you what compose is. Before running the compose, I'll give you like a small idea what compose is, because that's the part I'm planning to teach you in the next one, or we'll discuss in the next one. So the Docker compose is a tool for defining and running multi-container Docker applications. That means when you are defining a service, you might need multiple containers to run the service. So if you want multiple containers to run the service, then you have to install the containers one by one manually, and then you have to configure to work those containers together, which is very annoying. For an example, for a web application that you are running on Docker, it might need MySQL. It might need some sort of a OTP client. So then you have to run all these things separately. But with Docker Compose, what you can do is you can run multi-container applications within the same Compose file. So instead of running multiple Docker run commands manually, you define all containers, ports, volumes, and networks in a single YML file. That's what you call the Docker Compose. So everything that you need for your application will be defined in that YML file. All right. So then you can start everything with one command. So I will show you how to use a Docker Compose. So let me search Docker Compose for not Pi-hole. Let's use Jellyfin or something like that. So Jellyfin is like your own personal Netflix, right? You can host your media files there and you can watch it from Jellyfin, just like you watch it in Netflix. It's a server. You can watch it from anywhere. Okay. So I will show you how to use the compose file to run a service like that. Let me go to Docker repository. And I'll search for Jellyfin here, whether I want to see whether they have it. Jellyfin, yes, they do. This is the one. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to see whether they have the compose file. They don't. So that means I have to pull the package. What I like to do is I want to find the Jellyfin compose file. This is the official documentation. And in here, you can see the create a Docker compose YML with the following. So I'm going to copy all these things like this, right? And I'm going to go to my dockage. And here, I'm going to give the stack name as Jelly. You can give whatever the name. And I'm going to give the container name as Jelly. And I'm going to remove this compose file. And I'm going to, I think everything's okay. Yeah, I'm going to deploy this. It's that simple to deploy a service with this. So I'm pulling that image now. It's probably 300 to 4, it's a big file. It's 600 megabytes. The Jellyfin service. That's fine. So you can see inside this compose file, they have all sorts of information. See, like the volumes that you need, to create, the source, the target file locations, and what type of sources that you're going to get, what type of fonts that you are going to get. Everything is here. Like compose file is something that have all the information. So we have to learn to make something like this. Because if you can make something like this for your own services, that means you know Docker, right? Because this is a very important thing that you should be able to do. So it is still downloading. Okay, it's downloaded now. Okay. So this is a test Jellyfin server I'm running, but I'll show you an actual Jellyfin server that I have running in my home network after doing this. So this is created starting error response daemon use ID no matching entries in the password file. The user ID is the problem. I guess this is the problem. Let me remove this. Removing this will remove the problem of user ID conflict. Let me remove it and try whether it will work. Yeah, it worked. Now it's deployed and now it's starting. So this is a container, okay? What I'm starting is a container. Okay, just like the container that you created here, I am creating a container here. Same story, Sanjana. Just like I installed what you call the dockage, right? So the command that I ran in my Windows server, you have to run it in your WSL, right? But you have to make sure WSL get a IP address from your what you call DHCP server. So if you are getting the IP address using a NAT for WSL, then you have to convert it to bridge. That is the problem. Not a problem. You have to do it. There are plenty of tutorials how to get a bridge adapter to WSL. If you have a bridge adapter, then you can access it. So I just did a Google search, get bridge adapter to WSL. There's an option called network mode mirrored. If you go through that mirrored network mode, then you can get the dockage running in there. So my service is running, but it is still starting. So let's just wait a little bit, and after that we'll see whether we can use Jellyfin. So I'll give a small description about Jellyfin. Just imagine you are having your own Netflix. That is the simplest explanation I can give you about Jellyfin. Basically, it's you have to give your whatever the media that you have, and then you can host it in the Jellyfin server, and you can watch it just like you watch it in Netflix. Like you can pause the video and continue it in somewhere else. You can do transcoding, you can download subtitles, you can skip the intros. So many things you can do, right? And like in my house, there are plenty of people that watch different movies, um, like have some smart TVs. So for all the smart TVs, there's a Jellyfin client, and basically everyone have their own account, so they load whatever the media they want to watch, and when they log in from their respective account, they can only see their media, whatever the TV series that they are watching or movies they are watching, books they are reading, likewise. So the Jellyfin service is still starting. It might take some time because it's a big service. You can see it's still updating. We'll see. Let's give it some time, because if I click this, you can see the IP address is same as before and the port number is 8096, which is not running, right? Because it's still trying to start. It's still starting. Let's wait till it start. So what I'm starting is a Docker container that's running a Netflix-like service. That's the simplest thing I can say about this. Okay. Sanjana, did you get what I said before? So you can do the same thing with Dockage, but what you need to have is a bridge adapter to your WSL. That means you are whatever the Linux machine that you are running in your uh, host machine should get an IP address from the DHCP. I hope I am clear to you. I also have WSL in my machine here. I didn't use it, but I have it here. This one. So for my WSL, you can see the IP address I'm getting is not from the what you call not from the DHCP, right? So because of that, have to fix it. If you can fix it, then you are good to go. Okay. by default, you are getting IP address from somewhere else. Okay. So anyways, I think my Jellyfin service are still starting, but the color was changed. We'll give like 2 minutes. Still starting. So if you say stop here, it says now not available. Why? Why it is not? Okay, I'm getting an error. Jellyfin server. Okay. It says unhealthy because has insufficient free space available. Required this amount of GB. I think my VM doesn't have enough space. That's the problem. So that's why it's taking a long time. I'm not sure how much storage I gave for my VM. Let me see. I gave 25 GB. I feel like it's entirely used for this because they want 1.9 GB. Availability is only 1.9 GB. Okay, so that's the problem. Okay, anyways, it should start running. So, I mean, because of I didn't give enough space to my VM, I'm not getting the running option, I guess. Let me see how much space I have. So if you want to check how much space you have, the command is dfh. So with that, you can get an idea how much space you have. So the file system used 1.5. Available is, yeah, very little. Yes. But the dev, yes, most of the data is being used. Okay, makes sense. Right. So it might run, but it might take some time. But I'll show you how the Jellyfin is going to look like. Where once this is started, you will have a service like this. This is also running on a Docker container. And I want to say all this media is legally acquired. Okay, these are not pirated content because this video is going to be in the YouTube. So all this media is legally acquired media, not pirated media. I have paid for everything. Anyways, so this is how it looks like, right? So this is the media server that I told you, like you have your movies, whatever. It looks like Netflix. You can check your movies, cartoons, whatever. And you can go to your tutorials. And if you want to watch a video from here, like something like this, right? So all these things are running on Docker, right? This entire service is running on Docker. And I'm getting this service from there, right? So you can see this is like a very next level media service, and it is running on top of Docker, right? And it does transcoding, video conversions, so many things. But I'll discuss about these kind of things later because what I want to address in this workshop series one is mainly for development side. That means these are like system side, like implementing different side of services. But I want to address both sides. That means I want to address how you can use Docker as a developer and how you can use as Docker as a system engineer. So I want to cover both ends. So because of that, we'll talk about these things later. This is still starting, so forget about it. I feel like it's not going to start because I don't have enough space in my virtual machine. It gives these problems again and again. Anyways, I hope we can. I think we can stop from here. I hope you guys got something. I hope you guys understood everything I said. So before stopping this session, can I get a thumbs up if you are good with the things that we did today? Like you learned something and everything was okay. So only 20 people got it. Is that the case? So I hope others are here. Okay. So if you did, I'm happy about it. And if you didn't, just stay in the session. Have a chat with me, clarify your problems. We just started. This is the day 2, so don't worry. I told you, we are going to dive somewhat deep into this because we have to get our hands dirty with this technology, the Docker, because this is something that we use in the industry now, right? And next day, hopefully in next Sunday, I don't have any plans, so I will be able to do the session, hopefully. And in next Sunday, we'll actually discuss about the compose file. That's the most important thing that I want to explain to you guys because that's very important when it comes to Docker. So we'll discuss what is the compose file, why do you need it, and how can we define our own compose file for our work, right? So we'll do that in the next Sunday. And till then, stay safe and I'll see you guys in next Sunday. So thank you very much for staying. Thank you for all 70 to 100 people that who participated. I hope to see you guys, all these faces, all these people in the next workshop as well. So good night, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.